Stop. Do not buy a property in Toronto in 2024. It's just not making sense. My name is Tom Storey, and I'm going to be very bearish in this video. I'm going to give you the 5 reasons why you absolutely should not be buying a property this year. I'm a real estate agent telling you stop, don't do it. It doesn't make sense. Now, at the same time this video goes live, there's another video that will go live giving the 5 reasons why you should buy real estate, where I am very bullish, I'm very realtory, and I'm telling you all the good that could happen. But this video, we're being cynical, we're being negative, and some of this is very, very true and things to consider. So I hope you enjoy. This is also a good test of the YouTube algorithm when I put these 2 videos out at the same time, one with a negative title, one with a positive title, to see which one performs better. And I think I already know the outcome. If you like watching these videos, I'd really appreciate if you give this a thumbs up, a like, and subscribe to the channel. You can book a call with our team in the first link in the description. So let's get into the negatives. The first reason why you should not be buying real estate in Toronto, specifically in 2024, is the property prices just make no sense. It's crazy what's happened. We doubled in the last 10 years. It's insane. Your money is better spent in the stock market, maybe buying Bitcoin, maybe investing in your own business. I've seen so many people that buy properties and it almost like takes away from all the other things they could accomplish, because they're told from a young age, hey, to be successful, one of the things you want to have is home ownership. And they strive and they put all their money away and they buy a property, and then it limits the potential they have in other things. There's so many people maybe right now sitting at home with 25 years left on your mortgage. You don't even like your house. You're like, why am I working hard every day just to pay for this when you could be enjoying your life, traveling in Europe, or it just changes your lifestyle. You could have the next best invention idea, but instead of going out there and going for it, you took the safe option that everybody told you is the more reasonable option, which is just buy a property. Hold on to it for 30 years and you can retire on that. The second reason you should not be buying property this year is that even if you say you own your house, if you have a mortgage on it, you're pretty much just paying rent, at least for the first 5 years of that mortgage. What do I mean by this? Well, if you actually break down the numbers and you look at an interest rate between 4 and 5%, because if you're watching this video, that's probably the interest rate you're going to take in 2024, and you break down those first 5 years of interest payments on your mortgage, probably 80 to 90% of your payments every month are just going to the interest. Very small percentage is going to principal. And then you tack on the fact that you're also paying property taxes. And if it's a condominium property, you're paying condo fees every single month. And you actually look at it, it's like, how much of this money is mine? Now, this strategy used to work for a long time because it's like, all right, whatever. It doesn't really make sense, but the property's going up 10% a year. Well, that's a risk I'm willing to take. Well, I can't guarantee you that's going to happen moving forward, especially in the next 2 years. So the cost of owning that home that you think you own, well, what you're doing is you're basically just paying rent. You call it a mortgage, your name's on the title of that property, but for those first 5 years, you're just paying the bank rent and they're loving it. The third reason you shouldn't be buying is because of the market volatility here in the city of Toronto. We never can have just a boring market. We have peaks and valleys. We go up and down, and it's a roller coaster. Because if you haven't bought yet and you're watching this and I'm saying all the things that you've already thought about and you agree about, you're probably really into this. And there's some analysis paralysis that goes on with people that are super educated and really want to find something out before they make a decision, instead of just going like, oh, I'm going to buy a house this year, right? I'm going to talk to a professional and figure it out. The volatility will always be there. It's going to go up and down. There's good and bad. And frankly, there are just some people that stress level is not good for them. And to add to that, if you're someone that is thinking like, hey, condo prices are going down, rentals are still really good, I'm sitting on some cash right now, maybe I should be buying an investment property because I can see into the future. And you might be right. But the rules are so one-sided in favor of the tenant, where even if you do everything absolutely right, if the tenant says, I'm not leaving, I'm not paying, it could be 6 months in landlord-tenant court, it could be longer. The system is broken. and the fact that even if you do buy a property and it does do well and your tenant's amazing and you never have any issues and you make a whole bunch of money on it, well, the government's just going to charge you 66% inclusion rate over $250,000 gains, 15, 20 years from now. So it's like, well, it did really well, but you're just paying taxes on the money that you earned anyways, a lot higher than it used to be. The fourth reason why you shouldn't be buying is because of the transaction cost. It is extremely expensive to buy real estate. When I have conversations with new buyers entering the market, there are two things that I tell them. Okay, you've got your down payment, you've got your deposit, but there's two other things you need to be aware of, specifically if you're buying here in the city of Toronto. And the biggest one is land transfer tax. Land transfer tax was brought in 2008 in Toronto. That's when we paid double land transfer tax. Anywhere else in Ontario, you pay one. You pay the provincial tax. In Toronto, lucky us, you pay municipal and provincial. You get dinged twice. But Tom, I'm a first-time home buyer. I get a credit. The credit, honestly, like it maxed out at $8,475. It's like if you ordered a large pizza and one slice was missing. It's like, okay, that's annoying, but I still got all this pizza. It's like you still got to pay a massive amount of tax. This was brought in when prices in Toronto were under $500,000 for the average property, not the average condo, the average property. Well, now we're at $1.2 million. It's time for the city to realistically adjust this, especially for first-time homebuyers. It's a complete joke, but in 2021, when the market was rocking, I believe the city of Toronto brought in over $1 billion because of land transfer tax. So this is cash on closing. This is not part of your down payment you've been working hard for, saving money over a period of time. This is different. And this is the biggest shock I find most buyers have. And of course, the more money you spend, the more expensive it gets. And if you are going, luxury stuff, $3 million and over, you get dinged even higher for a luxury tax. And when that came out, everyone's like, all right, well, the rich people pay a little bit more, whatever. I know. But when this first came out, when the average price was $400,000, people were like, all right, whatever. So you just never know what it's going to look like in the future. You pay land transfer tax, and the fact that you pay lawyer fees, and working with real estate agents is not free. There are costs involved that you need to be made aware of. I think the biggest example of talking about just the costs involved is if you already own a property and you want to upsize, well, just figure out what exactly are you getting for spending that much more money? Because let's say the property that you upsized to was 300 grand more on the purchase price, right? So maybe that's a little bit more mortgage for you, but you can manage it. But then when you break down the land transfer tax, like if you're not a first-time home buyer, you spend $1 million, your land transfer tax over 30 grand. Spend $2 million, it can be almost $60,000. You might want to ask yourself, well, can I just improve my house? Can I just do some renos in the house that I'm currently living in to get it to the point that I'd be really happy with it? Because it might be cheaper just to invest into your own property versus moving to get another space. And the fifth reason why you should not be investing in real estate, if we're going to stick on the absolute negative side of things here, is, well, the government's coming after your home equity too. It's going to happen. People have been saying it for a long time. You pay capital gains on investment properties, but as it stands of me recording this video, you do not pay capital gains. It's tax-free when you sell your primary residence. At some point, I don't know when, the government's going to come for that too. It's going to be a terrible policy decision. It's going to be terrible for all Canadians, but don't shoot the messenger here. At some point, at some time, this conversation will come up again. If it gets enough support, like all the other things that have been pushed through that make no sense, but they do it anyways, they could come after your primary residence. So it's not even this safe nest egg that you always thought it was going to be. And let's throw in a bonus one here. You never fully own your home, do you? You pay property taxes. And when you buy a house, you pay land transfer tax. If you sell a property that's not your primary residence, currently as it stands, you pay capital gains tax. And if you just don't buy or sell, well, you just pay property tax. And let me ask you a question. You think property taxes are going to go lower or higher in the future? All right, there was my negative outlook on the housing market. If you're like, Tom, I understand what you're saying in this video, but I've made up my mind. I am buying a property. I can see the future value of real estate. I understand all the things you said, but I want home ownership. Well, go watch my other video, which tells you the 5 reasons why you absolutely should get into the market. Hope you enjoyed the 2 videos I put out today. If you like it, make sure to give it a like, subscribe to the channel. My name's Tom Storey, and remember, home is where your story begins.